I guess this is a bit of a mystery. We can't figure out how these bombs were supposed to go off. What does that say to you?
Right. No, well, it says one thing. This bomber was not the valedictorian of the bomb-making class, and they may be just poorly made and designed devices. I mean, I can tell by looking at it a lot of flaws in there, Chuck, which I won't talk about on the news because we don't want to educate the guy. But there's certainly some flaws in there, and so they could have been made. Here's the key. Don't confuse, or not you, but us collectively in the audience who is in this with us, don't confuse intent with ability. Or in other words, don't confuse desire with skill. Their intent and desire may be to kill all these people, but they don't have the skill and ability. They're not criminally sophisticated, and they're not really practiced in bomb making. Look at some of the physical evidence just quickly. We talked about, there's shrapnel inside the bomb. If you were not wanting the bomb to go off, why not tape a bunch of nails to the outside of the bomb to look really scary?
Right.
And why send two bombs to Maxine Waters and 2 bombs to Joe Biden? One bomb will scare you. It doesn't scare you twice as much to get 2. That shows me real ire, real hatred, real intent to get Congresswoman Waters and Joe Biden.
Jim, do you think you'll be
drop Clint? He can talk about that as well.
Jim, Clint, I'm going to get to the profiling part in a second, but Jim, do you think if you had a chance to look at all of these 10 devices, probably put them in the order that they were made?
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to be able to probably get that pretty quick. I mean,
and you'll be able to know where he's bad at it, and maybe you could tell the bomber gets better at it type of thing?
Well, you're going to be able to put the roll of tape together.
Right.
I mean, the lab puts the whole roll of tape together. So if it's on to bomb number 1, the next rip piece is on bomb number 2.
Right.
They're making all these together, and don't assume it's one person. I mean, I think in this particular case, especially when I looked at that little meme on the bomb, that little sort of ISIS get her done meme on the bomb.
You're stealing my question for Clint. Yeah, go.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, I've done that to Clint before, and he's done it to me. But look, I think that is an important factor. I'm going to let Clint elaborate on it. But all these little things go into the investigators, the commanders trying to get ahead of the bomber.
All right, Clint, chime in here. I'm particularly the ISIS meme, boy, how much would you be zeroing in on that as a profiler?
Well, number one, I can tell you, Jim Kavanaugh and I would rather be working the case than talking about it.
I bet. But, I can only imagine.
Once you take senior status, that's what you do. There's four quick things here, and let me take the other investigative track that Jim is taking. Let's talk about the potential that has suggested this is either a bad bomb maker or it's intentional hoax devices. Number one, in at least one or more of the devices, and again, we're not teaching a bomb making school, but I know there is at least one key component missing. Is that intentional? If it's intentional, then we've probably seen the last of the devices. If it's not intentional, I'm afraid we're going to see a new and improved version. Number two, we have this ISIS sticker that's stuck inside. That's like a high five type of thing the guy's doing. It's like his own inside joke or something.
His signature, if you would.
Number three is...
It's his way of signing it almost?
Yeah, and number three, remember, I think it was the CNN bomb. It came with an envelope of white powder. Well, what are the two things that scare us today? Bombs and anthrax. Well, whoever this is said, hey, why not do both at one time? If I can scare them once, I'll scare them twice. Well, the NYPD told us today it wasn't anthrax. It wasn't a biological agent. And number four, I think it's really good, and I think Jim and I would do the same thing, to look to Florida where these bombs may have come from, because if I've got 10 packages and they all have a Florida return address, I don't want to go to Delaware and drop them in the mail and have somebody look up and say, gee, how come you drove all the way from Florida to mail these things? So I think that's potentially our epicenter. It's like you throw a rock in a pond and the ripples start to go out. Right now, Florida may be the epicenter, and the investigative waves are moving out from that point.
Let's talk about how you would be profiling, and I'm curious, the decision, this idea that he sent 2, Jim sort of referenced, this may 2 to 1 person, this would indicate more rage. What any other things that could indicate?
Yeah, I think so. I think it could indicate more rage. But again, if it's a hoax device, is it a double hoax? Is this someone who was really irritated, the person who sent these? And realize this guy or these guys or women or whoever it is right now, they have had a bomb-making factory. They've had an assembly line on their kitchen table or in their garage or basement where they've built all these things. If they built them all and they've made this one mistaken flaw, I'm afraid we're going to see more. But if what they intended to do was just put a shot across our bow, just to get our attention, and they want to follow it up with a message. I think Jim said yesterday, the day before, you could follow up with a letter right now saying, hey, I sent those 10 devices. I can make 100 more. Listen to what I have to say. We're waiting for that message right now.
And quickly, Clint, what are the chances this is more than one person in your mind?
This could easily be accomplished by one person. You know, again, if we look at the Unabomber was one guy, the Oklahoma City bomber, you know, we had two guys doing it. One person could accomplish this. And again, the idea is, how do you keep a secret? You do it yourself and you tell no one.
Jim Cavanaugh, Clint Van Zandt, our basically unofficial CSI guys on this one. Thank you both. Much appreciated. I know, as Clint said, I'm guessing, Jim, you feel the same way. You wish you were working the case right now, but I appreciate you sharing your expertise with us.
Those guys will do it. Those guys will do it. They're
I bet
good.
they do. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.